Spain, round 4 of the 2021 season. Barcelona, the track every team knows a little too well. It's a circuit of truth. You can't hide poor balance here, and you can't bluff your way to a podium. Teams rolled in with the first proper upgrade packages of the year, as they usually do. Red Bull brought refinements around the front brake ducts and dashboard cluster, tidying airflow to the flow after experimenting in Portugal. Mercedes had smaller tweaks, setup refinements more than brand new parts, but all eyes were on whether those changes would stabilize rear grip that had occasionally looked edgy earlier in the season. Qualifying. Lewis drew first blood, posting a lap that looked textbook, precise and unbothered. Max went hunting for those lost milliseconds, wringing everything out of that Red Bull. Lewis set a clean banker with his first run in Q3, didn't really improve on the second run. Max had a better second run, crossed the line seconds later, faster in sector 1, neat through 2, but a tiny snap at the final chicane robbed him of the last breath of time. When the dust settled, Lewis held on by just 0.036 seconds with his early banker. And with that, Lewis claimed his 100th career pole, a nice round number for the history books. Bottas slotted in third, just a shade behind, while Perez was on back foot with a spin earlier and only managed 8th. The gap between Mercedes and Red Bull was still microscopic, but the manner of the laps hinted at the difference. Mercedes had a calmer car, and Red Bull started showing its classic livelier but snappy traits. Race day. Lights out. Everyone started with soft. After practice showed it to be a strong race style. And Max got the launch of dreams. A razor-sharp, gutsy start down the inside into turn 1, claiming the lead like it was personal. Lewis was forced to yield, not by much, but enough. From there, it turned tactical. Red Bull stuck to a one-stop plan. The all-track position is king philosophy, not as creative as what they started showing later on. Mercedes played the strategy game, shadowing early on, managing tires, waiting for the perfect window. Also, they had Bottas closely behind, experimenting with the strategy. As the laps ticked by, the picture formed. Lewis could stay closer longer, indicating Mercedes had a better overall race trim. And after a similar soft-medium run, when Mercedes pulled the trigger for an aggressive second stop, it looked bold. Max stayed out, leading but exposed. Lewis came out with fresher mediums, and the pace comes with it to close the gap. Each lap, the intervals shrank: 8 seconds, 5 seconds, 3, 10. Inevitably, on lap 60, Lewis breezed past Max on the main straight. No drama, it was one of those passes that wasn't about raw pace, but the tie delta. The second stop had been the checkmate move. After losing the position, Max had a free pit stop and got the fastest lap in the race with a set of new soft. Behind them, Bottas took a controlled third, tidy, unspectacular, but solid. But someone might argue that he wasn't close enough, allowing a free pit stop to Max to get the fastest lap. Perez's race was rather uneventful, long first stint, good pace, recovering to P5, but never quite in the frame for a podium with his starting position. Lewis won it not by outright pace alone. He obviously had good pace, but a multitude of factors contributed, including pit timing, tire care, and patience. Max led more laps and also had that brilliant move in turn 1, but Mercedes won more of the small moments. Qualitative look, the 4 drivers. Lewis, a typical drive by Lewis in a fast car, very fast car. Lost the lead early, but he knew it was a long game, didn't lose everything just to defend the position into turn 1, knowing what he had underneath, and took it back when it mattered. The strategist's dream execution. Max, fast and assertive, nailed the start, defended well, but trapped by a strategy that left him cornered. Bottas, reliable as ever, didn't quite have the edge to interfere with the lead fight, but somewhat maximized what was available, and overall helped the team's strategy, being close to the front. Perez played the team role well, though he wasn't quite close enough to the frontline battle. Recovered well and importantly showed signs that he can cope with the cursed second Red Bull seat. And that's how the Spanish round closed. It seemed Mercedes had the better package. Did they really? Or was it PO's strategic masterclass? Let's see what the numbers in the matrix make out of it. Race pace comparison. Well, it was one of those exciting Spanish GPs, one of handfuls. Max's turn, one move and run in the clean air made it exciting, but what's the story of the real pace? Our first stint, 20 laps all softs for both Lewis and Max. Lewis started with 5 laps all softs and Max started with 4 laps all softs. So the laps taken are 16 to 20 for Lewis and 17 to 21 for Max. I avoided the battle at the start and the immediate post-safety car period to get some settled, relatively cleaner laps on worn tires. Lewis averaged 1 minute 21.218 seconds and Max averaged 1 minute 21.202 seconds. Max is faster, but this is just as close as it gets. It was hard to pick the second set of 5 comparable laps for another stint. Lewis was on the hammer time mode all the way till he got the lead back since he started the second stint with mediums. It continued with the third stint as well. Max was trying to save tires at first and then trying to defend with worn tires. Very different scenarios. One of the only relatively fair comparison would be Lewis's last few laps after he taking the lead towards the end and from lap 62 to 66. At this point he was on 26 laps all mediums. Max's stint with 26 laps all mediums were from lap 50 to 54. Both were in clean air. The difference is that Max was trying to extend the tires as much as, with Lewis reeling in rapidly. And in the last few laps, Lewis had no major threats, so he was cruising to the finish line to bring the car home. He wasn't really pushing extra hard in that stage either, so I think this would be the most comparable set. All lap times are field corrected. Lewis's 5 lap average was 1 minute 21.725 and Max it was 1 minute 21.745 seconds. In this stint, Lewis is 200ths faster. From the two stints, Lewis's average pace is 1 minute 21.472 seconds and Max has an average of 1 minute 21.474 seconds. Just 2,000 in favor for Lewis. This is the closest we've seen so far. No points. Nothing separates them. 2. Race consistency. The lap spread, it was again a clean race, but with wildly different strategies. Lewis's lap time standard deviation was 9.563 seconds and it was 9.944 for Max. I thought Max had a steady race given Lewis was pushing pretty much in the whole race. But no, Lewis is almost 4/10ths better, so that's a point to Mercedes. 3. Teammate factor. Bottas' lap spread was 8.728 seconds and Perez's lap spread was 8.494 seconds. Again, Perez is ahead and this shows that midst of all the Red Bull's second seat curse stories, Perez managed to get it sorted fairly quick. I'm not sure what happened towards the late part of his Red Bull stint, but looking back now, Perez's start was truly admirable. It probably also indicates that RB16B was more balanced and maybe a bit more predictable car compared to the last few Red Bull machines. Anyway, Perez was over 2/10ths better and that's a point for Red Bull. 4. Teammate beating the rival number 1. Again, Bottas didn't beat Max or Perez didn't beat Lewis in the race, so no points here. 5. Let's see the qualifying numbers. On paper, it was Lewis with 100 pole, marginally beating Max, then Bottas and Perez a few places back. Let's jump right into the best sectors. Here are the best potential laps for all 4 of them. Lewis 1 minute 16.731 seconds, 100 faster than what the scoreboard said. Max 1 minute 16.777 seconds, same as the final classification. Bottas 1 minute 16.798 seconds and lastly Perez 1 minute 17.554 seconds. Final order would have remained the same even if everyone put up their best sectors together, but how close are the numbers. Lewis only edges Max out by 0.046 seconds, an ultra thin margin less than 500ths, no points. Next points are for Bottas or Perez getting the best possible lap of the session. Didn't happen, no points. And Bottas didn't beat Max, neither Perez beat Lewis, so again no one scores there. Between Bottas and Perez, well, Bottas is over 7.5 tenths clear of Perez, and Mercedes gets a point. We can start seeing Perez's late trend emerging here. Poor qualifying and good recovery in the race. The metrics kinda confirms the race outcome, a close one with Mercedes having a slight advantage. Points in Barcelona, 2 for Mercedes and 1 for Red Bull. Traditional track, usual Mercedes stuff. How does the story of the season look so far? Mercedes is in lead with 10 points and Red Bull is trailing with 4. To have a comparison with actual championship at this point, Mercedes is ahead with 141 points and Red Bull is behind with 112. Drivers, Lewis is leading 94 points, Max is closely behind with 80 points. So far, Max is much closer to Lewis than what our numbers suggest where he should be. That's all for boring old Barcelona. Next up, ever exciting race of the year, Monaco. And this is also where turntables. See ya.